All right, bring you back with some NBA news. Big trade this evening. It's still not completely done, but here's what we know according to reports. It's being reported that Bradley Beal will be sent to the Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul, a handful of second-round picks, and pick swaps heading back to the Wizards. Again, Chris Paul headed back to the Wizards. Beal had a no-trade clause and basically facilitated the trade. The reason the trade is not completed is because the Wizards reportedly may look for a third team to send Paul to and get more in return. As of now, the Clippers are the rumored team to be making a reunion with Chris Paul. And now that the Beal trade is off the board, the Miami Heat are reportedly focusing on Damian Lillard for a possible trade, and they are confident that this could be the year that Lillard will finally ask out of Portland. We got Chris Gasper alongside. John Tomase will be joining us via Zoom. There he is. Okay, Chris Gasper, I start with your reaction to this trade, Beal to Phoenix, and should the Celtics have been in on that one?
I don't think the Celtics should have been in on it. I like Bradley Beal a ton as a player, but I don't think this was really financially feasible. And I don't think you wanted to move Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal, who's going to be 30 years old, later on this month. When I look at what Phoenix is doing, remember now you have a new owner in there. They already went all in on Durant. They're obviously going all in on the superstar model. They're trying to build a big three. They're going in on that model, sort of like the Miami Heat model with Bosh and Wade and LeBron. I don't know if that's going to work for them. But I think this could potentially work. I'm more bullish on this than some other people because I think that when Paul went down and they had to play Devin Booker at the point, that took away some of Booker's scoring. If Beal's willing to go there and basically be a James Harden-like point guard, this could work out.
John, should the Celtics have been stronger on Beal here?
No, for all the reasons Gasper said. I mean, he's turning 30, and to me, he's been in sort of that physical decline for the last 2 or 3 years. He's averaging 50 games a year. You see the scoring numbers down. You see the shooting numbers down. To me, that it's not an improvement at all. And you would have had to trade Jaylen Brown to get him. I don't understand how bringing in an undersized shooting guard would really help the Celtics at this point.
John, should the Celtics be in on Chris Paul?
No, that's an even easier one. I mean, 38 years old. And the one reason you would maybe say yes on Paul is, well, he's experienced and they need that. And then you just say, and I hate to say this because it's a cliche, but what has he ever won? I mean, the guy is hurt at the end of every year. He's made, one finals in his career. He is not someone who has taken a team that final step. So I'm not sure why he would even help the Celtics at this point at 38 years old.
Chris?
So I feel slightly differently on this one. I would maybe kick the tires on it just because I think they could use more playmaking, which he could do. His role on this team would probably be a lesser role than he's ever had on any team. Certainly, John's right about his injury history. I mean, if he can't make it to the end, what's the point? So I get that. But just after watching the Celtics in the postseason, I do think they would benefit from a real point guard. I should say that's not fair. From someone who maybe is more established, more of a true point guard. I think that they'd benefit from that. And someone who could take the playmaking burden off of Tatum and Brown.
Agreed. I think they could use some ball handling as opposed to everyone just standing around the three-point line like Grant Williams. Okay, Grant Williams is a restricted free agent that could be headed elsewhere. The latest report has the Dallas Mavericks as a team interested in Williams in a potential sign and trade. That is on top of the reports all week that the Celtics are looking to trade one of their point guards. Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard could all potentially be subject of trade calls. Peyton Pritchard I want to take out of the equation. Gasper, Brogdon, Smart, White. Should they peel one of those bodies off of there? And is Grant Williams someone they would miss?
I like Grant a lot. I would be willing to part with him to try and get more cap space. I think when you look at Brogdon or Smart, I think one of those guys has to go, and it's not just the CBA. I mean, you just do the math. Derek White deserves to be on the court in crunch time, so that means one of those guys isn't going to be on there, obviously. Brogdon might have more value than Smart at this point. I would give the Clippers a call, and if this Chris Paul thing doesn't work out, are you interested in Malcolm Brogdon for a guy like Norman Powell? I would make that trade all day, every day.
Okay, John Tomase, my thing is that I'm just looking for a little diversity in their offense in terms of the personnel. For example, Grant Williams is a big guy who plays on the three-point line, just like Al Horford. Okay, so they're two offensive big guys. They play like wings. And their three-point guards, White, Brogdon, and Marcus Smart, also kind of play like wings. They're not true facilitators or elite ball handlers, so they have only one guy in the entire roster who plays differently than anybody else, and that's Rob Williams. So that's what I'm looking for. A big guy that at least every once in a while will shoot a two-point shot, and a point guard that's got more of an elite handle. That's what I want.
Yeah, but is that what the Celtics want? I mean, you watch them play. That's clearly not what they're looking for. I hear you on a facilitator. To me, if you're going to spend $30 million on a point guard, I'm not trading for Chris Paul. Sign somebody like Fred VanVleet. I think he would be a much better fit, and he would allow you to move on from Marcus Smart, which I feel like we are long overdue for that. I think that is the change that this team needs to make if they want to, advance further than they have. The Smart experience, I am done with that. I'd love somebody like VanVleet to replace him.